Hey y'all, there we go. Welcome to the party. Let's get this party started, y'all. Hey, beautiful people. It's the girl. I'm back again. I'm actually stopping in today because I didn't get to do this last week. It was Mother's Day last week, actually, here in the UK. So I didn't find the time to be able to come and sit into this space and kind of unpack the real tea of last week's episode, and I didn't actually get to watch it back. So we're actually more or less going to be sort of chopping it up a little bit about episode 3 of this season's Love and Marriage Huntsville. There's so much in there. Just even like thinking about all the dynamics that are taking place at the minute. So I don't know. You guys be sure to give me your thoughts and comment down below and kind of just let me know how you're feeling on each of the different topics that we're going to be discussing today. Definitely be sure to give this video a like. Okay, so we can kind of like get the algorithms going. First thing I want to sort of start off with is the dynamics between Mel and Martel, because I feel like we spoke about that quite a little bit last time when we kind of brought this whole, segment forward. And honestly, it was quite sad to see how things kind of played out. I'm sorry, that Mel kind of had a couple of deaths in the family. I'm sure that that's a lot for the family dynamics to kind of deal with and navigate through. I don't know if Martel seemed like he was aware too much. Potentially, more than likely, his kids probably mentioned something to him, but I don't know. They don't seem to have much communication as far as parenting. Mel said she got an email, so that's kind of like, I guess, the dynamic of their parenting at the minute. Diving straight into it. What do you guys think? Do you think that it was okay for Mel not to have the kids turn up? I personally feel like, so here's my thing, right? I feel like Mel made the situation that was about the kids about Martel trying to control her. Now, okay? Calm down. With the whole, he kind of had the gig booked for the kids to do the book signing pretty much on a week that he didn't have the kids. Sometimes these things happen. Sometimes that's the only availability. That's the only moment in time that the stars have aligned for certain things to take place. And I feel like that was a good opportunity for the kids. I feel like Mel is busy pouring into Mel, which is great. And she's allowing for her kids as well to be able to bask in that or get, how can I put it, get something from that as well. It's kind of like her cup is overflowing into theirs, right? But this was something that Martel did with the kids as far as them being able to do the book. And she could have, I know obviously she doesn't want Martel to feel like he's getting any sort of I feel like she doesn't want Martel to feel like he's getting any sort of play. I feel like she doesn't want him to feel like he's getting any sort of play. And what do I mean by that? So I feel like for her, it's all about this game that she's now playing with Martel and everybody in the midst of the games that are being played. And this isn't just a dynamic that she has with Martel. This is kind of like her war tactic. This is how she fights, right? She pretty much is in a state where she's kind of doing exactly what got done to her. So what Martel put into her is now, I guess, karmically pouring out. What do I mean by that? So she is literally just focused on herself. The dynamics about the kids going to the book signing, that had nothing to do with Mel. The only thing that it had to do with Mel was the fact that that was Mel's week. Mel's clearly going through a lot with her family dynamics and, with the deaths that they're all processing at the minute. So that could have been easy time off that she could have had to herself with her family to be able to kind of like go through processing and just go through their whole grieving process. You know, I feel like mum as well needs to be able to hold Melody. Sorry, I called her Melanie the entire time, and it was so funny because she's clearly auditioning for a role for a person called Melanie, and I think that it's safe to say that maybe the universe is clarifying that she may get that role, because I thought that that was interesting. But Melody Holt is she's not necessarily holding herself accountable. She's so focused on what it is that Martel isn't doing. She's not seeing where she could also pick up the slack for where he may be falling short. He just so happened to book it on a week that she's got the kids. That would have been a great opportunity for the kids to be able to experience a completely different dynamic where it wasn't about their parents' fight, and it was more so their parents fight for them rather than their parents fight between each other or amongst each other. I feel like that was. I know that Melody probably felt like she was being undermined by Martel and him basically booking it on that week. But like I said, sometimes when you have these types of situations, because it looked like there was like a whole sort of fair thing going on as well. It looked like, there were other people there were other stalls, there were other tables that were out as well. So it looked like there was some sort of event in itself that was taking place, and the kids were obviously supposed to read there. I felt like this is also Martel's karma, so let's speak on it real tea, okay? Because Martel created this dynamic for himself, right? He went through a process of sabotaging what he had because he didn't know how to protect it from himself, that is. And now that he's kind of like found himself in this dynamic from his little self, you know how it is. Now that he's kind of found himself in this dynamic, he's having to, bear the brunt of like the hurt that he's actually caused, because Mel's pretty much willing to hurt him as he's hurt her. I know she says she wants the best for Martel, but she's not there yet. She would like to be, and I'm sure she's working on it. She's still got a lot of work to do, but yeah, she's definitely not there yet. I do think that Martel is getting a little bit of a taste of his own medicine. This little dynamic here was to kind of like teach Martel about appreciating what he has, and it was about teaching him to be able to not necessarily take what he's got for granted. I don't know how well he's like taking in his lesson just yet. I don't know if the conflict between him and Mel is consuming them both to the point where they're not actually participating in the lesson that they're actually experiencing at the minute. On Mel's part, I feel like she's so focused on what it is, like I said, that Martel isn't doing. She's not necessarily understanding that she has different sort of slack to pick up with the dynamics that they're experiencing. They're now both single parents. Being a single mom, the dynamics are a little bit different. There are different things that she has to be able to do, like obviously split custody with the kids and figure out a dynamic when there are situations like this that occurs where the kids have something very, very important to them. I feel like Mel is making her divorce all about her. And it's not to take away anything from her mothering, because I think that she's doing a good job with mothering as well. But I think with that particular dynamic, it could have just been a one-time thing. And when I say a one-time thing, it's like, do you know what? I am going to, show face for the kids. And I understand that she probably feels like she's done that a lot over the years. And where's that gotten her? Yada, yada, yada. The thing about being like a good, decent person is that you don't get to pick and choose. It's like when you're practicing or you're in the class of patience, right? You don't get to say, okay, I'm done being patient now. You kind of have to continue to operate in moderation, that same frequency, that same narrative, holding that vibration as strongly as you can. I feel like Mel wants to be good. She wants to be so far over the Martel situation. She wants to be so far past the bitterness that is still on her heart with that situation, but she really isn't there yet. And the way that she handled that situation as well, again, just kind of like, I know she wants to say otherwise, but that literally just kind of put it into perspective that she's not necessarily where she wants to be just yet. For Martel, bro, I almost feel bad for you, but at the same time, I don't. I feel bad for the kids. I can't feel bad for Martel because unfortunately, he let his illness get the best of him. He let his illness of fatherlessness get the best of him. He let his feelings of inadequacy, because I don't think he realizes that he has a lot of deep rooted insecurities. And when I say feelings of inadequacy, I mean, here's this guy who's got all these things that he's worked so hard to get, right? And this is the thing with being human, because we're constantly designed for this instant gratification because we've been programmed that way, right? What do you do when you've met all your goals and everything that you wanted to achieve, you've achieved? You get bored. And you start to basically now tear down everything that you've built so that you can reconstruct it and rebuild. What he should have done when he found himself in that position where he had met his goals and they were leveling up to new layers and levels of that. I guess I understand that, at this point, their path is designed for them to go separately, because I can see that Mel wants to be able to, pursue her music career. And her music career at the minute is pretty much, we spoke about this last time, feeding the narratives of, the broken woman, the woman that is now being empowered by her pain, the woman that has basically been through a tough time in relationships. And I think what I'm still missing in these songs is accountability to say that this is a part of myself that conjured or summoned this person into my experience. We're still waiting for those types of tracks, but hey, we'll see how, I guess, 2022 and beyond unfolds for these ladies, because Destiny's getting into the game as well. Destiny wasn't in this episode 3. Tiffany was, however. We'll talk about Tiffany in a little bit as well. But yeah, how do you guys feel? Do you feel like Mel was right for basically not having the kids turn up to the book signing? I low-key think that it was a little bit selfish on her part. Yeah, I feel like even if she feels like it was a case of Martel getting, his way, she could have put her ego aside just for that moment, just so the kids could have that experience for themselves. So yeah, I think it's going to be a battle of the egos with Martel and Melody as they continue to kind of like navigate through this divorce dynamic. And hopefully the kids are protected as much as possible and as scarred as little as possible, even though we can clearly see that they're getting a lot of the impact emotionally, where both Mel and Martel's falling short. So let's put some prayers out there for the kids on that part, and put some prayers out there for their mom and dad so that they can get their shit together, guys. Like, let's get that together, okay? Because the kids are basically missing like opportunities to have like good experiences with you guys individually, because now there's a different rhythm that you guys have to operate on, and you guys need to just adjust to the rhythm, even if it's a situation where, okay, maybe that might not be his week to have them. It's a week for them to have an experience. Remove yourself from the situation and focus on the kids is what I'd say on that dynamic. Tisha and her cousin, let's move on to that. Tisha's family loyalty. Now, obviously in episode 2 we saw the cousin, can't remember her cousin's name, but she was obviously at Melody's event, her little sleepover thing, her little sorority, let's get together mean girls to talk about like the people that are not in the club type thing. I feel like, and this is like no tea, no shade. I feel like Tisha's getting a little bit of her own treatment here again. This dynamic happened with Tisha when she was talking about the whole Kimmy thing and hearing about the side chick thing and indulging in a conversation about Kimmy and the whole side chick narrative. I feel like, again, that's just her karma. She's just getting her karma back. That energy she already put out there, so now she's receiving it. Now she'll probably understand a little bit more about like Kimmy's directive on why Kimmy felt some type of way about it, because it was coming from her, because they are family by marriage. What that feels like. I think that, I don't know if this is like Tisha's blood cousin or what, but I think that in Tisha being able to receive the exact same treatment that she's pretty much put out there, she now gets to understand that that's not something that you do. I can see that Tisha's actually growing. Like, can we talk about that for a minute? Because I can see that Tisha's actually growing, and I'm glad to see that she's growing. She's internalizing a lot. I'm concerned about how the levels of internalizing that she's doing at the moment, because I don't think she knows her tolerance capacity to be able to internalize and withstand as much as she's been internalizing. So I don't know if this is going to spew out. Maybe in the next 2 to 3 episodes, we'll see like some of this stuff that she's internalizing coming to surface. Because I know that the whole like rumor about the secret apartment thing is bugging her, but Marsau's giving it no life. He's giving it no light. So there isn't really much that she can do to be able to kind of like address her concerns on that situation. I feel like with the cousin, she already said it. Like, I think we see in coming episode, in the next episode, that she's going to be kind of like distancing herself from the cousin. And that's what Kimmy chose to do when Kimmy kind of like experienced that same behavior from her. So hopefully she kind of like learns from receiving and being on the receiving end of the, I guess, very same behavior that she's not happy in receiving is. So hopefully she can take that in its stride. And I don't know, maybe her and Kimmy can have a conversation as well. I'm sure they probably don't want to rehash the past and stuff and dig up that whole old wound. But I think it would be good for Timmy to utilize, for Kimmy, sorry, to utilize this as a learning experience for Tisha to really understand maybe how it made her feel when she was portraying the exact same behavior, so that she can understand that actions have consequences. And even though your intentions may be in the right place, sometimes a little bit skewed, you know, you kind of have to be mindful of how you treat people and how you handle people in the presence of others when you're having certain conversations as well, especially if it's like your family dynamic, people that you care for, your loved ones, people that you have genuine concern for, you know. But yeah, I think with Tisha and her family dynamic, I think everyone in Tisha's family have their own levels of toxicity, as we can kind of like clearly see. So this is just, the cousin probably felt like she was just having a conversation. Mel brought up the situation, and it's not like it's hidden information. Mel was probably around at the time when, I guess, Tisha was navigating through some of these rumors and things. that she had to fact check within our marriage. Which is why the cousin probably didn't feel any type of way to be having the conversation like present in front of Mel and stuff. However, they're not on those terms now. They're not in that place now. They're still working on their friendship. Their friendship has been, it's kind of like had a few hits in the last couple of seasons. So they're still working at that. That's not the place for you to have that discussion. It makes you just seem a little bit like a gossip. And because that's your cousin, that can be very, very like deep betrayal. So you kind of just have to watch your tendency to gossip, I think, is the thing for the cousin. The cousin needs to kind of like watch where she puts her mouth and when, she's opening her mouth about certain things, especially when it comes to like people's personal business, especially because it's like, just like Mel was saying to Destiny, it's about who you're having the conversation with, because Destiny's whole by the way, did you guys catch it, how Mel's version of events with that situation was that Destiny basically confirms that she was talking shit about her, and Destiny's truth was, we were basically rehashing the stuff that you had already put out there, and we were dissecting it and having a conversation amongst ourselves. Yeah. Anywho, that part, right? But yeah, I think that with the dynamics, if Mel felt that way about Destiny having the conversation with Tisha, I think she knew what she was doing by bringing the cousin there and having that dynamic of a conversation with her. Like, that was intentional on Mel's part, and the cousin was wrong for playing into the intent card. I think it's about boundaries. I think that sometimes people don't necessarily know how to speak up for themselves, or when to speak up about inappropriate behavior when it's being kind of like forced upon them. I wouldn't say that Mel forced the conversation on her, but I think that she may have felt a little bit uncomfortable to kind of like stand in Tisha's defense, even though naturally, obviously, because that's her cousin, you would think that she would be, in solidarity with her. I mean, how close are they? That's all I can say on that part. How close are they in terms of that cousin dynamic? However, I guess that's for them to figure out, and we'll see how that plays out on the next episode, and we'll kind of like see how everything kind of comes together. But yeah, I see Tisha growing, which is nice. It's nice to see her maturing a little bit. Marsau, let's get on to Marsau, guys. Is Marsau a bully? I think he can be emotionally insensitive. I can't say that he's bullying or not bullying anyone. I think it's up to the person who feels like they're being bullied to obviously speak their truth, right? But I do feel like he can be emotionally insensitive to how other people may be experiencing things that he does. I think that he's solely focused on whatever desire he's seeking and whatever feeling he feels like he needs to get from a situation. He's serving that. He's serving himself. That's it, nothing else. And that's cool. But I think when you're engaging in a ensemble cast, you have to be a little bit able to kind of like gauge where to place your energy and where you may be misplacing your energy. Because I think with Marsau, right, he says that he doesn't like them talking about their marriage and stuff, and Lou and Tiffany talking about their marriage, and they don't really know them. But clearly Tiffany and Lou has a different narrative, because they're like, Tiffany's like, I've known Marsau for a minute, and Lou's all getting mad because Lou's like, and that's what I'm talking about, like the messy stuff, like the messy-ish. He's acting like we don't know each other outside of these spaces, like we're not actually cool peoples outside of these spaces, like we don't roll like that outside of these spaces. And I think for Lou and Tiffany, I guess maybe in that dynamic, they may be misconstruing their friendship versus now their cast dynamic and relationship. I think obviously that's where things are getting a little bit tricky, because I think the other guys are okay talking about each other's dynamics and everything because they have like a friendship where they're close and stuff like that outside of the ensemble class, or used to be close friends outside of the ensemble, of the cast and stuff. But I think that, you know, if you see someone like once or twice here and there and you're in the same friendship circle and you guys have mutual friends and you guys have had conversations and you've seen each other over the years, I'm sorry, but I don't know you. I know that we kind of like know of each other, which is a difference, but I don't know you. Like, you don't know me. Like, knowing me is different. You kind of understand my lifestyle, the rhythm that I'm on, you know, my plans for life, what I'm doing in my life, like all of that kind of stuff. And I think that that's the thing that Marsau is trying to say. Like, Marsau's like, you don't know us like that. You don't know anything about our family dynamic like that to even be talking. Because I think that that's the thing that is being misconstrued. I think because Tiffany's seen them, because she seems to be like too familiar, which I'm understanding what people their issue with her. Okay, she seems to be too familiar too quickly. And I think for some people, they don't necessarily relate in the same way. They don't necessarily connect or attach in the same way. It's almost like just because we've seen each other in the same room, like I said, a few times here and there at events that we share mutual friends, that doesn't mean that we are actually friends. It just means that we are friends of friends of friends, you know? And I think that that's the dynamic that seems to be kind of like causing this distortion of how they're experiencing each other, because they may be a little bit overly familiar with the dynamics. And I think even then, like for Marsau and Tisha, because I can say that, but I feel like they're like that with anybody that says anything about their marriage. Is like, we're not friends. But I think that that may be the place that Marsau is coming from with that dynamic and situation. Who knows? They might have spent like lots of times together individually, and you know, Marsau is just kind of like doing a whole Mariah moment, you know, Mariah Carey. So who knows? I guess we'll kind of like see how that plays out on the next episode. It will be interesting to kind of like sit back and see how everything kind of plays out. With Lou and Tiffany, Lou got heated, y'all. Lou got heated, and I was like, okay, now Lou, show us what you made of. I didn't know what to make of the fact that he got heated. I think he feels like he's getting punked a little bit by Marsau, and Marsau's coming with that like big dominant masculine energy. So he's having to like, you know, like he has to peacock, you know, he has to bark up a bit, you know, get his feathers out and stuff, put on a show as well to kind of like let it be known that he's also a dominant in the dynamics as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how everyone kind of like dick fights in the next episode, I guess, between Marsau and Lou, because Marsau seems unapologetic. I don't, well, I understand why to a certain extent as well. He may feel as though he doesn't owe Maurice an apology, but he does. It wasn't for him to put Maurice on Front Street like that. He just threw him under the bus. He deflected and threw him under the bus. At the end of the day, I think that Marsau, I know he doesn't have a problem apologizing, kind of like what Martel said. I think obviously if it makes sense, then he'll apologize. And I think because he feels like Maurice lied, and that was the agenda, that was the intention, to unearth Maurice's lie. He doesn't owe him an apology because he did exactly what he was setting out to do. So yeah, he's unapologetic about it. He's the little brother though, so I guess he gets away with it, and Maurice is going to let him get away with it. For now, we'll kind of see how that plays out in the next episode as well. But for the most part, it's actually been quite interesting seeing everything that kind of like panned out during this episode. What do y'all think about Martel sort of like making his own wine, considering he's not really a drinker like that? Like, do you see this being the development of like this new version of Martel that I guess is a little bit more turned up? Because now he looks the part, right? He looks the part. So now he's going to become the attributes, the lifestyle, the characteristics, the mannerisms, the personality type of that kind of, I guess, physical appearance. So we'll kind of see how that plays out over the course of the next few seasons, actually, because I think that this is a development that's going to continue to give us more and give us life season after season after season, because he's going to grow into this character, like really, really grow into this character. And I think that he's made a few mistakes along the way and he's learning from those. Hopefully he's growing from those experiences. But I think that at the minute, it's all about him being able to really understand the ramifications of his actions and really like navigate through the consequences of some of his choices, like tactfully, like really, really tactfully, because that was his thing. But like, he does not have any tact. Sometimes the things that he may say, they may be like true, honest, sincere, coming from a genuine place, but his delivery is so off because he is just not very tactful. So hopefully he learns to be a bit more tactile moving forward in terms of how he navigates through situations, because his ego is clearly being humbled in this season of him growing into the character of the persona of this guy that he's building and reshaping and reforming himself to be. So we'll kind of see how that plays out for him. With have I missed anyone? With Kimmy and Maurice's situation, glad to see that they're finally honeymooning, y'all. Like, your man said he planned it in 3.5 years to the day. Cheeky. But yes, it's nice to see Kimmy and Maurice finally being able to kind of like take that time for themselves, go and do their honeymoon, get away, and just vibe. Okay, we'll put it like that. Get away and just vibe. Because Kimmy seems like she's packing mostly lingerie, guys. So shit. Like, I was about to say something about babies, but I'm sure that they're both at a certain stage in life where that's probably not even a possibility at the minute. So kudos to them. They can like fully enjoy. But that was nice to see. What else happened this episode, guys? I think that that's pretty much like the grit of the episode so far. Yeah, that was pretty much everything that we had in the episode. I definitely want to see Mel's mum kind of support her and also give her some words of wisdom in accountability as well. Because I think that if she's not careful, she'll create a monster. And because of the hurt that she's navigating through with everything that she allowed to happen to her in the relationship dynamic with Martel, yeah, mum wants to be careful and mindful with that and not give it too much life in terms of like supporting her too gently. Sometimes she needs a little bit of honesty, some of that sharp tongue honesty, to be able to navigate through certain situations and scenarios. I understand that it was, Melody's week to have the kids, and she's also looking forward to the kids being there, but it was a one-day sort of signing situation. I'm sure she could have taken them there for the day, and then Martel could have gotten them where they needed to be, and they could have still enjoyed the festivities, and they could have actually arranged something that could have been useful to the entire family dynamic. So, Mum, I need you to get out of Mel's feelings and focus on your grandkids and focus on what is right for them, not necessarily just about what is supportive to your daughter. Okay, that's what I would say to you on the situation. I can't think of anything else in this episode that was like really, standing out. Can't really remember much of episode 2. So we won't even dive into that. The only thing I remembered from that one was about like the, oh, what did you think about like that whole dynamic with Tiffany and Kimmy after they had their conversation? And then I think her name was Paris. I think her name was Paris. She then kind of like uprooted everything all over again. What did y'all think about that? Because I thought that that was funny to me. She was irritating, to be honest. Like that kind of personality would irritate me personally. I like her honesty, but again, the delivery, like I'm not around that kind of delivery because I feel like you're likely to get whatever you get. Like you can easily trigger a person's demons, and all of a sudden you're experiencing demon time with a person because you can't watch what you say around people and just be a little bit mindful. So liked her honesty, appreciated her honesty. Again, delivery was just off. So that's something that is going to be interesting to see how she kind of maneuvers into the fold of things, because I think that that's what they're trying to do. From the looks of it, they're kind of like making her a friend of Mel's and bringing her into the cast ensemble. So we'll see how that plays out. But that was pretty much it, guys. I can't think of anything else. That was pretty much all the tea that I could find. So the reality on the co-parenting situation with Mel and Martel is that regardless if it was Martel's week, the kid should have been there, because that was a situation for them to have a moment and experience a glow up, and you pretty much just made it about yourself again. So yeah, both of you guys. Mel's got to get past some of the hurt to be able to really be about these children instead of pretending like she's actually about the kids. Tisha with the family disloyalty. What do you guys feel about that? Do you feel like the cousin was disloyal? Where do you guys stand with it? And as for Marsau, is he a bully? Do you feel like he goes around bullying people with his insensitive nature and character? Do you feel like he comes off as a bully because of the fact that he's so emotionally, how can I put it? I wouldn't even say that he's emotionally calculated. That's the word that I would use. Marsau is emotionally calculated. Do you think that that makes him a bully? Comment down below, guys. Let me know what you guys think, and we will kind of stop back into the space next Sunday again and see. It depends actually, because I think next Sunday I may be busy. Who knows, y'all? Who knows? We'll see kind of like how the week goes, and we'll kind of get a notification out here if I am going to be on Sunday or not. We'll see how it goes. But definitely hope you guys have an awesome week ahead. Enjoy the festivities of April, because it is definitely one of the most life-changing months of 2022 thus far. And it's only just begun. We've got so much going on astrologically. I think I am going to do an astrological forecast for the month of April tomorrow, actually, just because there's so much to unpack this month, and I haven't done one of these for you guys in such a long time, and I really want to be able to kind of like get back into the mix of things. But that is pretty much everything from me, guys. Definitely be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of all of the events of this episode. If you like my vibe, be sure to join the tribe and subscribe. Hit the notification bell, that we can be kept in the know of when I do upload these awesome videos for you guys. And on that note, I am going to love y'all and leave it there for you guys for the night. Hope you guys have a super, super April. I'm sending you guys much love. Mwah. Sarah. Take care, guys. Signing out.
Things they said to hold her back, they never seem to leave her head and tend to keep her mind at war. All the things they said to hold her back, they keep her locked inside of all the times when she's been hurt before.
Be good, y'all. Sarah.